Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank ICBA 2021 Organizing Committee for inviting me to this conference. Okay, today I would like to share a research finding that my PhD student and I worked together on the topic of hard and soft carbon disclosures or BCD in Malaysian carbon intensive industry. Okay, environmental issues have always been a concern to all, and carbon emissions have caused an abrupt climate change, which has become a point of international concern, where we can see there is an upward trend in CO2 emissions. Malaysian government is committed towards climate change reduction and currently working on finding a way to reduce emissions by 45% by 2050. And this initiative to reduce carbon emissions is aligned with the SDG Goal 13 to take urgent steps to combat climate change and its impact. And one of the ways to combat this climate change is through reporting by businesses in their annual reports on the impacts of their activities. Okay, however, the efficacy of voluntary carbon reporting relies on its ability to enable reader obtaining a comprehensive and accurate description of the company carbon performance and the impact of its activities. Okay, so what is voluntary carbon disclosure? A VCD is a set of quantitative and qualitative information that relates to a firm's past and forecasted carbon emission level, its exposure to and financial implications of climate change associated risks and opportunities, as well as its past and future actions to manage these risks and opportunities. So what is the issue? The issue is with the quality of carbon information disclosed, as management normally choose to disclose only positive information to portray a good image of the company. So therefore, there is a need to construct a disclosure index that comprises both of hard and soft disclosure. So in our study, we developed a voluntary carbon disclosure index. Okay, and then the index that we develop is used to examine the quality of the VCD of Malaysian companies operating in carbon-intensive industry. So a brief literature review. Okay, the first study on hard and soft reporting was by Clarkson et al. 2008, but they focus on environmental reporting in general. And their study and other subsequent study found that hard reporting is higher. Okay, while other studies found soft reporting to be higher, and then later on for GHG reporting, okay, the findings were mixed. And what we can conclude from the literature review is that there is still lack of studies that focus specifically on carbon reporting, okay, especially in the context of developing country like Malaysia. So our study is based on legitimacy theory. And this theory says that companies will behave to stay legitimate in society's eyes, where the extent of disclosure normally depends on the specific level of represent hard disclosure and 15 items represent soft disclosure. So the hard disclosure can be categorized into 4 categories, namely GHG emissions accounting, energy consumption accounting, GHG performance, and serious actions to tackle emissions. While soft disclosure is divided into vision and strategy claim, target to tackle emissions, general actions and initiatives to tackle emission, and risk and opportunities. In this index, 2 new categories were introduced, namely energy consumption accounting for hard disclosure and vision and strategy claim for soft disclosure. So the implementation of these actions suggests the company's commitment to better control their carbon emission. And for GHG emissions accounting, the measurement of carbon emissions appears to be a completely new exercise among Malaysian companies, where only few companies disclose its accounting system, for example, like total GHG emissions in CO2 metric tons. And the only monetary disclosure only the information related to other information on carbon reduction and cost. And the least reported is information related to energy consumption accounting, where the companies disclose very little information about their total electricity produced and consumed, percentage of total operation spent on energy, and the total fuel consumed. Okay, now let's move on to the soft disclosure. Okay, the most reported category for soft disclosure is information related to vision and strategy claim, where most companies reported a statement on the environmental compliance, okay, their vision and strategy claim, a statement of emission policy, values and principle codes of conduct, as well as the existence of CEO or chairperson statement on GHG emission. And with regards to general actions and initiatives to tackle emission, they reported on employee awareness, education and training, community, consumer and supplier awareness, education and training, as well as research sponsorship or donation. And the reporting on risk and opportunities is very low, and the low score in this category may be due to the substantial uncertainty in identifying and quantifying the risk. And the least reported information would be information related to target to tackle emissions, where majority of the firms failed to set their targets. They did not also state their time scale to achieve the target. Okay, so the lack of information on target to tackle emission portrays an underestimation of the importance of emission reduction. Okay, now this table compare the score between voluntary carbon hard disclosure and voluntary carbon soft disclosure. So we can see, look at the mean score here, we can see that the mean score for soft disclosure is higher than the mean score for hard disclosure. Hence, it shows that Malaysian companies prefer soft disclosure items rather than hard disclosure items. So the findings of our study support our hypothesis, where it is found that Malaysian carbon-intensive companies report more soft disclosure items than hard disclosure items. So what can be concluded from our study? The first thing is that what we can conclude is that the quality of VCD among Malaysian companies remains relatively low. And then consistent with previous studies, Malaysian companies disclose more of basic, general and soft information. And one potential reason that we can give for the low level of hard information in the annual report is that companies may consider hard information to be immaterial, or there is a high degree of uncertainty in determining the hard information. So what we can say is that the companies use more of symbolic management approach in disclosing carbon information for their reputation and image building activity. So they do not really provide stakeholders with a detailed understanding of carbon related issues from a strategic perspective. And our findings support legitimacy theory, where the disclosure strategy of Malaysian companies is more symbolic in nature rather than substantive behavior to create an impression of environmental responsibility and accountability. Okay, and finally, we developed a comprehensive VCD index. Okay, and this index can be used to examine the VCD quality of companies in other countries, especially developing countries. With that, thank you very much.